Hey guys, Brandon here with Exotic Diecast, bringing you guys a video on how to customize your model car. This one specifically is on the 1/18 scale Bburago Ferrari 488 GTB. And as always, I will put a link to where you guys could buy this car on Amazon if you guys want to do this project yourselves. From what I know now, they make this car in white, as you guys can see, red, and like either a black or a dark gray. I'm not even sure if they came out with that one yet, but those are the colors I know of now. I already did this project with a red one, and what I did was I just disassembled it, painted the wheels gloss black, and the calipers yellow. If you guys are subscribed, you guys probably know about that. And I also painted this little side intake piece right here black. So we're going to do that as well. I'm going to go black wheels. I'm going to show you guys a rendering that I did, like a configuration I made on the Ferrari website. So that's pretty much what I'm going for. So as you guys can see, I'm going with black wheels, yellow calipers, the black little piece right here. I'm not gonna try to paint it carbon fiber, obviously, but I'm just gonna paint that black. And then I don't know exactly how I'm gonna approach this, but I'm gonna like to go with a black roof and black lower sills right here. If I could do that, I'll be pretty happy. I'm not too sure how I'm gonna do that, but the wheels and calipers shouldn't be a problem, and the air intake, because I already did that. So without further ado, I'm just gonna go ahead and zoom out and kind of bring you guys along with me with this project. So yeah, for now, let's just see how far we could disassemble it with just a screwdriver. So looking at it upside down here, you're going to have 2 screws right here, and right here. So 3 screws total. So let's go ahead and unscrew these. Okay, so 3 screws dropped out here, so just make sure you save these. And then let's try to just wedge this out. So probably opening the doors will be a little easier so we could push it down. Just try to remove the body from the rest of the car, and the steering wheel always gets caught, so just kind of push the steering wheel a little bit, see if you can get it out. So there we go. I had to just kind of reach in there and tug the steering wheel out, and then it popped off. And as you can see, sometimes this happens, sometimes it doesn't. This whole kind of thing right here, the display, the dash came off with it. So that's easy to put back on. But yeah, this is disassembly, so the more parts that come off, the better. Okay, so forgive me if my memory is a little slow, because it's been a while since I did this model car, the red one. But anyway, just kind of get the dash and just pry that off. As long as you don't break anything, you're fine. So just go ahead and set that to the side. And then you have your steering wheel here, or your steering is all connected there. And it's connected with this little knob here. So just carefully kind of pry it upwards, and as you see, very easily just came off. Okay, and then let's see here. Now we are exposed with 4 more screws. We have these 2 right here, and then these holes right here have 2 screws. So we're going to go ahead and just pick the back to start with. So we're just going to go ahead and unscrew this. And then as you're unscrewing that last one, the whole engine bay is going to want to lift out. So just carefully put it there. And then these screws that disassemble from the bottom and that held the engine are thankfully the same size, so you don't have to remember which screws are which. They're all pretty much the same size, so that makes it really easy. So just grab your suspension pieces here, and don't lose these, just keep them over with the screws. And then once you remove the engine, you could just pull this whole assembly out. Let's just go ahead and zoom out a little bit. So these are your rear wheels. The brake calipers will be facing forward, so just remember that when it's time to reassemble. So we're just going to get this little axle or whatever and set it to the side. And now we have to do the same thing for the front wheels. So as you can see, the 2 screws here. So let's just go ahead and unscrew it, and just hold it down while you do it. Okay, just like that, they should be unscrewed. And then, actually, I just remembered, these screws connect the entire cockpit here, the seats and everything. So once we unscrew these should be the same size as the other screws. So let's just dump these out. There are our 2 screws. And then let's see what wants to lift off here. From what I remember, there should be some pins from these seats pinned down. So you have to be a little aggressive with it. As long as you don't break anything, you're fine. But try to just keep on moving these the seats until that happens right there. And as you can see, they were pinned down. Forgot where, but just grab your suspension here. But yeah, this was pretty much just pinned down right down there. So it's easy to just pop back on. So not too big of a problem. As long as there's no broken pieces, you're fine. So we're fine. You could just plot back that down there when it's time to reassemble. And then just like the back wheels, we just get this, and then that's pretty much it for the whole chassis and everything like that. So this is how Bburago steering works now. Is it's just like these rubber pieces here that just bend a little bit. That's how the steering works. So it makes it actually pretty easy to disassemble. So now we have the main components here, the back and front kind of axles here. So yeah, from there we could start disassembling even more. Okay, so now it's time to disassemble the wheels and the brake calipers and all that. So this can be a little tricky. Sometimes it's easier than other times. So hopefully this will be not too difficult. So the way I like to do this is get a screwdriver and then put it through the pin right there. Kind of use as the pen, and that way it kind of holds up like this. Then I like to grab the screw like this and then just pull the wheel off like so. And then as you can see, the entire wheel came off with the brake caliper and the disc right there, so it still rotates freely. And as you can see, our wheel is completely on its own, so that's exactly what we want. So again, I'm kind of getting confused here. This is the back wheels, so just remember that. So yeah, these are the back wheels, and then you just go ahead and stick it through there again. Set this to the side and gently do the same thing. And here is our second wheel. So not too difficult. And then try to pop that back on just in case it moved, but it did not, thankfully. So there's that. And I'll teach you guys how to mask, or I'll show you guys how to mask this off. Let me just zoom in a little bit. I'll show you guys how to mask that off for painting the brake caliper without disassembling anymore. It's pretty easy. But the main thing is just getting those wheels off. So there's our back wheels right here. Let's not forget which is which. These should be thicker anyway. Yeah, they are actually. So the back ones are thicker, so just remember that. Okay, so here's our back ones. Now we're going to do the same thing for the front. Just stick it here and then pull. Nice and easy. I love it when it's that easy. Sometimes they're a little bit more difficult. And then just the same on the other side. And then pull. Nice and easy. So again, here is our brake disc that rotates through the caliper nice and realistically. And the reason that happens is because the brake caliper is connected through this big rod that goes all the way through. So very good design by Bburago's part. And the steering again is less moving parts. It's just that one rod that's bendable. So very good design by Bburago, I must say. So here's our fronts, here's our rears, here's our different axles there. And now what we're going to do from here is take off the tire from the wheel. So the way you do that, nice and easy. It was super hard with the Hot Wheels version because of the big like notches inside. It was just super difficult and it was frustrating. This is nice and easy. There's kind of like I think there might be like a little bit of glue or something, but once you break that seal, it's actually very easy. So hopefully it's in focus here. So you just kind of go around the whole wheel like this, just kind of breaking the seal a little bit. All the way around, and then once it starts to loosen up, you could literally just do that, just push it all the way through, kind of self-explanatory. And there is the wheel on its own, and here's our tire. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that with all of them. Alright guys, so there we go, we disassembled the wheels from the tires. Now I get this question a lot, and it's just kind of self-explanatory or straightforward. I always get asked how to mask off the center logo, like the prancing horse there. And really what I do is I get masking tape, like blue masking tape, and I get like a small little square, and I try to just mask that off as close as possible. And if I'm off a little bit, I'll just go in there with a brush and put a little bit of black paint where I was wrong. But yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and mask that off now. Before I actually mask off the brake calipers and wheels and everything, I'll just continue disassembling everything. I almost forgot these side pieces right here. I said we're going to paint those black. So to do that, you can just try to paint with a brush there, but to make that a little easier, I like to disassemble it. So those pieces right here are actually these black tabs. Let me just go ahead and zoom in. So as you can see, these little tabs right here, it just connected with that one pin right there. So it's kind of difficult actually to take this off without breaking it because it's just fragile plastic. It's actually harder to put it back on. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out a little bit. There we go. And yeah, I honestly kind of forgot how I went about doing this on the last car, but I'm just going to try to dig my fingernail in there and just loosen it up. It's actually becoming a little looser on its own. So after prying it a little bit here and there, kind of like a loose tooth, it finally falls out. And I already got the other one here as well. So This is the, let me remember here, this should be the left side, this should be the right side. But yeah, well, left and right on the car there. But yeah, so as you guys can see, these little pieces, they're just, once you disassemble them, they're just these kind of black mesh pieces with the white here. So we're just going to go ahead and paint that gloss black, probably with the brush, and I'll show you guys the kind of paint I use for that as well. But that's pretty much the disassembly for that. Let's just get all these parts here. So yeah, and again, like I said, I want to paint this lower sill. Let's see if I need to focus again. I'd like to paint this lower sill here black, and the entire roof here black, but I'm looking at it and I just don't know how I'm going to go about doing that. It's definitely going to require more disassembly, but there's no more screws here, so that's going to be pretty difficult. So if I'm going to do that, I'm probably just going to go and very carefully mask everything off. And I'm kind of thinking that's going to be my what I'm going to have to do, is just carefully mask everything off with tape or something instead of trying to disassemble more parts. But that's what I don't know yet. What I do know is what I've done before. So we're going to go ahead and paint this by brush, so we don't need to mask anything off there. So that's ready to go for paint. And then again, we're going to go ahead and carefully cut out some little blue squares to put over the prancing horse on the wheels. And then we're going to go ahead and mask off the brake disc, which is very easy. Okay guys, so just finished off masking off the wheels, and it is as straightforward as you might have thought. It's just this little blue square right on the emblem. So that's probably going to leave a little bit of silver spots here and there when I peel this off. So I'm just going to go with a little paintbrush with black and dab it in where it's missing. But that's pretty much how we prevent from painting the yellow prancing horse. Now we're going to go ahead and paint the brake, we're going to mask off the brake disc right here. That way when we're painting this with a brush with yellow paint, or whatever you want your calipers to be, we don't paint the disc. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. So I'm just going to go ahead and refocus and zoom out. So the way we do that is we peel off some masking tape. Probably just about that much just to start, right there. And then what we do is probably zoom back in. Sorry about that. There we go. What I like to do is put this right on the disc right there and peel it over like that and like that. And then kind of fold it in, hopefully. Oop, I was out of frame there, but yeah. I just go ahead and put the blue tape on the disc there, as you guys can see. Hopefully. And then once it's on there, I like to rotate the disc all the way until the blue is down there. Then I get a little bit more blue tape and then mask off the rest of the disc just like that. That way the entire disc, you could rotate it all the way around, and the entire disc is blue tape. That way you could paint freely and not worry about painting the disc itself. So that makes it a little bit easier. Now we're going to go ahead and do that to the other side as well. Okay, so the brake disc and everything is all masked off. As you can see, it just should look like blue things on the end. So the calipers and the wheels are ready to be painted. So I'll show you guys the kind of paint I'm going to use and everything. I'm still a little confused on what I'm going to do with this and the proper masking to get that look that I want. So maybe I'll just mask off a little bit and try to paint it by brush, but I don't want a kind of uneven look. I really like the look of spray, so I don't know. We'll see what I do with that, but for now we're ready to paint these yellow and these gloss black. So we'll just go ahead and do that now. I'll bring in the paint and everything I need. Okay, so I gathered some paint here. You guys are always asking for this, so here it is. What I'm going to use to paint the brake calipers yellow is these colors, or these paints that are really not made for this. These are kind of made for like canvas painting or something. It's just acrylic or something. It worked fine on my other car, and I have a good way of kind of sealing that I'll show you. So this is kind of the paint, but as you guys can see, it's just not the right shade of Ferrari yellow. The Ferrari yellow is kind of like what you see on the side, the little shield here. So it's like a very light, it's almost, I don't know how to describe it, but that's Ferrari yellow right there. And as you guys can see, this is not that at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this down and mix it with white, enough white to where I get the perfect shade of yellow for Ferrari. So I keep on mixing, put some more white, put some more of this orange, yellow, or whatever until I get the perfect amount, and then I start painting with that. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I also got this paint right here. This is just Tamiya, or however you pronounce that, black paint. So I'm going to use this for 2 reasons. I'm going to use this with a brush, and I'm going to paint these the side air intakes from white to black, as well as I'm going to get a small brush, and let's just say that when I peel that little tape off after I painted it, there's a little bit of like silver on the corners there, which is expected. I'm going to go ahead and just fill that in a little bit with this paint. So that's what that's for. And then this is just some Tamiya spray clear gloss. So when I'm done painting my yellow calipers, I want to give it a good little professional look, so I just go ahead and shake this up and spray it down with the kind of clear gloss, and that way it looks very, very good. It just brings out this really nice gloss that you wouldn't normally get from this kind of acrylic paint. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And again, still not totally sure how to mask this off, but what I'm thinking about doing is if I were to use completely just all tape to mask everything off except for this and the roof, what I'm going to do from there is sand this down and then try to paint it with spray paint, the same spray paint I'm going to be using for the wheels, which is somewhere downstairs. That's like the most basic spray paint actually, so nothing too complex. They're just gloss black spray paint. So that's what I'll be painting for this as well if I decide to do that. And again, I'll probably just mask everything off, sand down the roof, and then paint from there. But I'm still not totally confident in that. I am confident about everything else though. And then here are just some brushes. This is going to be, the small one is just going to be to correct the wheels when I'm done. And then this one's going to be for the intakes, and then this is going to be for the calipers. So that's all pretty much ready to go. So I'm going to try to see if I have more masking tape to see if I can mask off the entire car. That's kind of a long process, but let's just see if I'm able to do it. Okay guys, and quite some time later I masked off this car. So I thought I was going to disassemble some more pieces here and try to make it a little easier, but really I didn't want to do that. So I just went ahead and masked it all off. I kind of ran out of this blue tape, so I used some green masking tape. So everything, every window, everything is masked off. If I get some overspray under here, I really don't care too much about that. I'm probably going to mask off the doors. But other than that, this is ready to go. So everything's ready to go. As you can see, all the white parts, like the sills and the roof, I am going to now sand down with this sanding paper. I don't really know exactly what kind this is. Tamiya Sanding Sponge Sheet 600. So I'm just going to go ahead and sand that down just so the spray paint will have something to stick to. So that's kind of the point of no return. So I'm going to go ahead and sand that down and bring it outside and paint. I'm also going to spray paint these wheels, but I'm all going to do that outside in this box. I recommend you guys get like a box or something like that so you guys could spray into, but that's kind of common sense stuff. And what I'm going to paint indoors is the intakes and the brake calipers. So we're going to go ahead and get to that now. So I'm just going to go ahead, sand this up, bring it outside, and start painting. Okay, so I started painting the car and the wheels outside. So while that paint is drying, we're going to try our best to successfully mix a good shade of yellow. So I'm going to go ahead and just put some yellow here. And then put a little bit of white right here. And then I'm going to use this brush, and then again just trying to make the perfect consistency of what we want here. So I'm going to just kind of mix in a little bit of the yellow with some white right here. That's looking pretty good. It's a very light, lighter yellow than you might think it is. So once we get the right amount, we'll start painting. Okay, so I think I got a good paint here. I brought back my other 488 just to bring back what I thought was good, just for comparing. And that pretty much looks like the right yellow. And I remember comparing the paint a lot when I painted this. So I trust what I did here, and that looks pretty good. It looks actually identical. So I think we are good to go to start painting. So now what we're going to do is grab whatever axle we want and then get some paint, and then not too much though, but yeah, and we're just going to start kind of light. So let's just zoom in a little bit, and then I'm just going to go ahead and start painting a little. Okay, so now that the brake calipers are being painted with their first coat, they're just gonna dry for now. But when they are dry, we're gonna go ahead and do a second coat, And we're just going to do enough to where it's full coverage, which might take 4, maybe 5 coats or more, but we'll just play it by ear. Now I'm going to go ahead and get this Tamiya paint here. Open it up. I'm going to be using this brush right here to paint the air intakes. So I'm just going to get a little bit of paint here and just kind of lightly go. And I might do multiple coats of this as well, just until I get full coverage. Okay guys, so back, just kind of waiting for some things to dry. Not everything is dry. The brake calipers I just sprayed with the clear paint, the Tamiya clear stuff. The side intakes are dry. The wheels are almost dry. I mean, they're kind of dry to the touch, but I don't want to try to force the tires on them quite yet. They're a little bit tacky. And here's the car, all masked off with a lot of black paint on it. I still have to peel this off. This is not quite dry yet. I don't really want to mess with it too much right now. But when it's ready, I'm going to go ahead and start like carefully peeling things off. And no matter how good you think you masked off, there's usually always some overspray in there. So if I see some black paint on my white that I want to keep white, I'll probably just go there with a Q-tip and some like alcohol, like nail polish remover or something, and clean that up. But hopefully it's pretty minimal, and we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, also I got these tweezers. So when I start going and removing the blue tape that we put there to protect the emblem, like I said, we're probably going to have some silver, and we're just going to go ahead and touch that up there. But yeah, pretty much we're just waiting for paint to dry. So yeah, I'll come back to you guys. Alright guys, so I peeled off all the masking here, and it turned out decent. I had a lot of overspray that I already took care of with some nail polish remover. But other than that, I mean, it looks pretty good. The black roof, the black side sills there, both sides, and I already reinstalled the air vents there, so the black on white looks really, really good, exactly how I wanted it to. I already put the tires on the wheels and removed all the masking here. Sorry, I'm coughing a lot. Kind of have a sore throat. But anyway, so everything's kind of ready to go. I took off the masking from here, so the yellow looks great as well and has a nice shine to it. So to put it all back together, again, excuse me if I'm a little slow because it's been a while since I went through it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and reassemble it now. So we got our front here, the front axle. We're going to get our front tires and just put them back on there. And they just kind of click into place. Let me do our other side. Okay, so now that we refitted the front and rear tires and axles with the tires and brake calipers and everything, we're going to get the front here. Make sure you're mounting it right. And you just slip this on. And then you put the suspension pieces right back on as well. And then we're going to go ahead and put this just how it came off. Okay, so once you click the seats down in place and suspension and everything is where it needs to be, you just get the 2 screws and put them in place. Okay, so now that that's all screwed down, we're going to do the back axle now. Just make sure that the calipers are pointing inwards, and then we're just going to slot this down on the rods. And then we're going to put our suspension back on, right there. And then our engine compartment should be put down there as well, and we'll just screw that all together. Okay, so once the engine compartment's on, just make sure all your suspension is working. So you know you got it all in there, and the steering is all working as well. And then you're pretty much set to put the rest back together. I'm going to start by just connecting the steering wheel through the original point. When you disassembled it, just remember how you did it. And then now just make sure the steering is working. And then instead of putting this back on top, just like how it came off, what I'm going to do is actually put this inside. So I'm just going to open up the door and make it a little easier. And then I could just slit or slot back the entire dash back into place. And when it's in there, you know. So it's on there nice and tight. And then with that, maybe it's easier to keep all the doors open. You kind of just slide it back on, and obviously there's going to be some interruption. Something not going to want to go in place, so just kind of move it around until it just kind of snaps back in place. Okay, so once you kind of hear that nice click, go ahead and hold it upside down and just remount the screws and screw it back in. Alright, so after you tighten down these two and this one screw down here, it is all tightened up and there it is. So what do you guys think? Looks pretty good, looks pretty close to the rendering I had. So yeah, that pretty much wraps it up, guys. So now you have still the fully functioning car. You just gotta be patient, make sure everything dries correctly, but the black roof and the black side sills actually worked out a lot better than I thought, but the wheels and calipers are the easiest part, and that's kind of what most people are wanting to do anyway. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll bring you guys some more videos with this car, some more close-ups and everything like that. But until then, thank you guys for watching, and have a great day.